between us and them. When I see this wheelchair facing a staircase, I don't just see an object, I see exclusion. Stairs may look ordinary to many of us, but here they rise as a wall that whispers, "You don't belong beyond this point." For centuries, people with disabilities were separated from society, hidden in basements, attics, and later institutions. The message was always the same: you don't fit. This mindset connected to what is known as the medical model, which sees the problem as something within the person. If you can't walk, the problem is you. But the social model flips this thinking. It tells us that disability isn't created by a body. It is created by the environment. Here, it is not the wheelchair that disables someone. It is the absence of a ramp. Canadian inclusion policy now recognizes that inclusion is a right, and the Code of Ethics defines inclusion as every child having a sense of belonging and being supported to participate fully. This photo challenges me to live that principle as an educator. I want to look for the stairs in my classroom, those invisible barriers that quietly exclude, and replace them with ramps. And the ramp is more than a piece of concrete. It is a symbol of belonging, dignity, and fairness. This bell curve image instantly reminds me of how schools measure and label children. The idea of normal was something society created, and once we invented normal, we also invented abnormal. The bell curve encourages us to value the middle while marginalizing anyone who falls outside it. Normal is not neutral. It reflects privilege, whiteness, able-bodiedness, and middle-class values. When children fall outside the curve, they are often seen as lacking, placed in segregated programs, or tracked into special categories. Historically, this thinking justified institutionalization, where children with disabilities were separated and denied the chance to belong. But we know now the difference does not mean less. Children bring multiple ways of knowing, learning, and expressing themselves. When we force them into the bell curve, we erase their strengths. As an EC student, this photo pushes me to challenge how I view success. I don't want to compare children to an imaginary average. Instead, I want to create classrooms where differences are expected and valued. True inclusion means dismantling the bell curve and seeing every learner as capable in their own unique way. This image of a brick wall blocking a pathway reminds me that it's often society itself that builds the biggest barriers. The wall represents the systems, attitudes, and physical structures that exclude people with disabilities. Sometimes the barrier is visible, like a staircase without a ramp. Other times it's invisible, such as low expectations, prejudice, or lack of representation in decision making. These barriers, both big and small, shape who gets to participate and who is left out. The social model of disability tells us that disability isn't about what a person can't do, but about what society fails to make accessible. Research also reminds us that language and perception hold power. When we describe someone as special needs instead of simply disabled, we often soften or hide the reality of exclusion. As an ECE student, this photo challenges me to see beyond the gap in the wall and imagine what inclusion really looks like. It means recognizing that equity is not about fixing children, but about changing environment, policies, and mindsets. So every child can pass through that opening and feel they belong.